Yes, I can see. Sir, good evening.
Hi,
How are you, sir?
I'm good.
I hope this the first time you're coming on an Insta Live, sir. Is it true?
Yes, yes.
First of all, thank you so much, sir. It really, really means a lot for accepting this. And you don't know how nervous I am actually to talk to you.
Well, that makes two of us, so I think we're good.
Thank you, sir. So not delaying it because as I have promised, 6:30 Wimbledon finals will start. So I have to end this session before that, and I don't want to disappoint your kids as well.
Yeah, please, yes.
Sir, is there anything in your bucket list which you haven't done or yet to do as of now?
No, I don't have anything like that for
Okay.
sure. It's just that I think I'm really aware that life throws up these surprises and
Yeah.
it also throws up disappointments. So right from a very young age, I've always decided to live for today and maybe just one more day, tomorrow. So I don't have really anything on my bucket list as yet. Maybe if you were to ask me in particular, I wanted to work with Kamal sir, and I managed to do that in my third film. I
Yeah.
wanted to interact with Mani Ratnam sir, and I've been doing that extensively over the lockdown. I wanted to work with Raja sir. You
Okay.
grow up to music which plays
Yeah.
at home, and you're influenced by certain music, and I want to work with the legendary Raja sir, and I managed to do that. So I'm slowly sort of ticking off a few boxes in my head. Otherwise, it's not a bucket list, so to speak.
Wow. So why did you pick like film making as your career, sir? I mean, the reason why I'm asking is like, of course, you and Mani sir have been greatest inspirations to so many filmmakers, including me. In fact, I've chosen filmmaking here because, I mean, not trying to make you old, but I've grown up watching your films, and I mean, your films have been like a huge, great impact on us also. So, but why did you pick filmmaking as your career, sir?
Firstly, let's not say my name along with Mani sir's name on the same platform.
All right. Okay.
I'm really very particular about that.
Okay, sir.
Um, Secondly, I guess I picked filmmaking because we wouldn't get to have this conversation if I wasn't a filmmaker. Maybe
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. We wouldn't have got to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
this
I know.
conversation. You're talking to a filmmaker in some way. So it's a journey. It's a journey that I wanted to take for myself, and somewhere along the way, I wanted to make or create some visual imagery which sort of would appeal to me, or is a story that I would want to narrate and probably participate in the world of visual imagery that a lot of other people are in. Because it affects me, it inspires me. A bad film drains me out. A good film, drives me for a couple of years. I feel like immediately getting on a bike and riding into the rain, sort of thing. When I watch a good film, it inspires me in that sense. And I always think maybe we should try and make something similar or as good or even better. So it's a journey that I carved for myself, where I realized that I want to be amidst these storytellers. I want to be amidst these people who put out this visual imagery and sort of impact, people or affect people, or, however you'd call it. And that's what I've been doing. Along the way, there have been, bouquets and brickbats, but it's been a great journey, I think, so far. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, how many times have you been in love, sir? Reason I'm asking this question is every time you showcase this love, it is very realistic, is what I feel. I mean, people do say that they have connected with the characters you have chosen in the films. Like, I mean, classic example in my case, I say whenever I have watched Varnam Ayram, I feel like how can that be so realistic? In the sense, you haven't taken the cinematic liberty also, like sometimes when you showcases these love sequences in your film, it feels like it's just happening next to you. So every time I feel like how many times have been JVM sir has fallen in love.
I think you
So I
just
know
need
it's
to
a
fall
cliche
in love
question.
once. You just need to fall in love once to, sort of know what it is. You don't have to keep falling in love. And I think you fall in love once, you are in love all your life. I am in love all my life so far, from the time I can remember. And so I think people connect because it looks real and it feels like it's happening in their life. I think Vineta Devarapalli
Correct.
worked to a
Yeah.
large extent because A lot of people felt it was like an extension of their own, personal journey or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I am in that space. That's all I can say right now. And to answer your question specifically, you don't need to fall in love every day. Just once is enough.
No, totally, I agree with you because the kind of realistic emotions you have got through your films, sir, like you said, Vinata and Varuvaya or Nidane and Ponvasatam. Nidane and Ponvasatam, the whole variations of the emotions with the hero, I mean, with the protagonist and the heroine, I feel like it is so realistic. It's like any human can relate to that because it's happening in their lives. So that's pretty tricky and it's pretty too direct, I can say.
No, I think
But
and also
thank you for.
especially about Nidane and Ponvasanam, I think a lot of people who experience something like that really got it. I think a lot more
Yeah.
women like the film than men. It is not a big commercial success as it was, but hardly doesn't matter. We didn't spend like a pound on the film for the producers to lose any money or anything like that. But it's a story that when I read, I thought it had to be told, and I sort of tried to own it and make it the way that I wanted to. So yeah.
So some of your movies, which happens to be like blockbusters, like right from Kaka Kaka, Vettiyadu Viliyadu, or till Acham Enbadu Manaveda, or Ennayar in that, is there any reason the protagonists are always shown as police cops? Like, do you have any inclination towards the stories which revolves around police or the cops?
No, nothing in particular like that. But
Okay.
yeah, I think I've said this before, and I've said this many times. When you want to create something in that thriller action genre sort of format, the easiest thing to do for people to identify or to make it as believable is, if you make him a police officer, then you can write a lot more around that character in that thriller
Yeah.
genre or action genre sort of a thing. Where is the violence in our lives? Not that I hope for violence to be in our regular lives, but here
Yeah.
there is a scope. You can take the audience into a zone, into a sort of a make-believe world that they will believe that this police officer is associated with or in the midst of a lot of violence or action or some thrill element or some danger, and then so once you're in that sort of a setting, you can take the story forward, in any which way.
Yeah.
Whereas to write an action story around somebody from like you and me or in our general walk of life might be a little unbelievable in that sense. So it's just an easy way out, I thought.
But do you think that blend is there? So, like as you said, the thriller films, what you have done, there is a mixed blend of the romance, what you show, and the thrilling. It's like it goes hand in hand. Do you consciously write like that, or like there is a separate treatment to the thrilling part, and there is a separate treatment to the romance part,
No,
and then the blend?
no, honestly, no. இந்த அளவுக்கு லவ் இருக்கணும், இந்த அளவுக்கு ஆக்ஷன் இருக்கணும், இந்த அளவுக்கு காமெடி இருக்கணும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சு இருந்ததே இல்லை. It's never been like that. I write in the flow that the character deserves or requires. Mostly character driven. So I pick a character and I work around the character. I get into his mind. I try and think like what he would think like, in the profession that he is or at the home that he is. So I try and work around the character and then try and bring these elements into, that character's life. And sometimes it's ended up becoming a police officer. Sometimes it ended up becoming a regular, somebody just
Yeah.
out of college, somebody who's, between college and a profession. And then he gets to become a police officer by a twist of fate or whatever you call it, which is Achaminbadu Madameda. And so it's all character driven. So that's it. There are no rules here.
So, how do you write the script, sir? Is there any particular format you write the script, or like it's just natural process? Sometimes you feel like, okay, people have said that 3 a.m. they get a thought and they immediately wake up and they start writing. Some people they get onto the fixed mode, saying like they go onto the outer stations, they're going to fix with the team and they're going to write. Is there any process you follow, sir?
No process, but I've also been through all this. Like sometimes I wake up at 5 with an idea in my head
Okay.
and I immediately put it down. Sometimes for 3 months to 4 months, there's hardly any writing because there's just absolutely no, you're bereft of ideas, nothing in your head, You're just taking some other work forward or post-production.
Yeah.
You're trying to be creative within what you've already created. There's no new idea at all. And sometimes there's just a, barrage of ideas or a thought that somebody will tell you, or in a discussion in your office, somebody says something and then you come and put. There's no process. In that process, I'd like to travel to write. I like to meet people when I'm writing. I like to sit and my office space. I like to sit in a space which is busy and bustling, so all those voices will actually make me write. So there's no process as such. I enjoy the process of writing. Sometimes I hate it.
So do you use any software to write, or like it's still the paper pen formula, like what,
Both.
like over the
So
ages
there's
people?
both. There's good old fashioned pen and paper, and
Yeah,
sometimes you're traveling, or you're in the middle of something and there's a thought that strikes you, immediately you put it down. Sometimes even the phone on the notes page, it'll help to
yeah,
put down an idea. And then when you want to format it, or when you think, okay, writing
yeah.
format, everything should be neat, clean, and it needs to be presented to somebody, then you straight away start working around the software. So I use Final Draft to write all the time.
Very nice. So after your first film release, Minnale, like which is cult classic and still even fresh after 21 years, immediately you did the same in Hindi. And that
Yeah.
move at that point of time, I think it was huge. And I think kind of a bold attempt because going from South to directly to the Bollywood. What made you take that decision? And of course, henceforth also you continued with Ema Savi or Vinay Tandi Varavaya, which you did Ek Divanata as well. But at that point of time, what made you take that bold decision, sir?
See, I think other than Minnale and Kaka Kaka, which were remade as Rehna Tere Dil Mein and Garshana,
Yeah.
as production, as later productions. Like we made Minnale and then we went into the production of Rehna Tere Dil Mein. Likewise, Kaka Kaka was made and then we made Garshana like almost a year later. So other than these two films, all the other sort of remakes were all made simultaneously. So I can't call them remakes. So Vinetani Varuvaya and EMI Chisave released together on the same day. It was made as two productions, but parallel shoot, like one shot with Simbu and one shot with Naga Chaitanya. Likewise Acham, likewise Nidani in Purvasandam and all that. So I think the idea to remake a film after you've gone through, a production and then make is, it really doesn't work for me anymore. I don't
Okay.
think there were decisions at that time. It was also a decision that was taken because there was need. There was a need to make that film, and really it was Madhavan who insisted that let's try and make a Hindi film, and everything is set, and let's do this. Darshana was more like I had to make it because of Kaka Kaka. I had to make it. There was a need to make that film to solve financial issues and all that stuff. So, but once you get into it, you try and put everything into it. It's not like a half-hearted attempt or anything like that ever. Even the smallest of
Correct.
length of shoots that we do to the biggest of films, the amount of work and heart that you put in is the same. And it's all heart.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I'll be remaking something in that sense, unless I'm really inspired by something else that I've seen and I want to say that story in my own way. But some of my own work, I don't think I'll be remaking that in a later production sort of thing. Yeah.
So as a filmmaker or a director, I know we all have to deal with so many departments. But is there any one department which you feel like you like the most, like handling this particular department? Is there any one department for you? I know it's a cliche question, but
No, I like to edit because when you put together the film,
okay,
when you finished filming or in the middle of a schedule, you want to edit those scenes. That's a complete rush. Yeah, you're dealing with rushes, and you also feel the rush because it's what you've shot that's unfolding in front of your eyes, and then you have to put it together as cohesive or a coherent sort of a scene.
correct.
Um,
Yeah.
um, uh, that's a big rush for me. So I enjoy the process of editing. I enjoy the process of creating music. And of course pre-production where out of nothing you're creating something. You just have lines on a paper or a story on a laptop. You and it's in your head, and from nothing you create. You meet actors to cast for your
Yeah.
characters. You have no idea, but once you see the actor dressed in a certain way, in the look that you have in mind, and then you're taking it one step forward by making him say lines, and then you put a camera there and film it. So that's a big eye also. So I think pre-production stages of trying to put together a film, the filming process itself, and then editing and music, is something that I really like. Yeah.
So do you think as a filmmaker, if he has a good hands-on editing, is an added advantage? Like most of the people do say that. I mean, like for upcoming filmmakers, they say that you have to get it edited, someone who is expert in that. If you are a director and if you're a filmmaker and if you edit your own stuff, there might be tendency of you keeping all the stuff which you have shot. People do say that. What's your take on that, sir?
No, see, you don't have to physically know to edit, as in you don't have to.
Okay.
As long see, and I don't think you can direct a film without knowing the edit or
Totally.
the look that you have
Yeah.
in mind. You can't direct the shots without knowing that in that at the edit, this is how the shots will fall together. Otherwise, you're just randomly shooting and trying to put it together on edit table. That's not the way you should. So when you write a scene and you write a shooting script, and then before you come to shoot, or on the day of the shoot, or during the pre-production stages of that shoot, you work your shots out. That scene has to come together because of all those shots that you put together, and each shot connects to the other shot, and that is your edit already in your mind on paper. So when you sit at the edit table, you just have to put that together. But you need somebody like an editor who's learned the trade of or the trick and the craft of editing, who will still put it together in his own way and see if it matches with what you had in mind. If you can do something else with it, and sort of tell you this particular thing doesn't work, can we cut it a little earlier? Let me cut this actor's particular expression here, or let me hold on to it for like 10 more seconds. Is a call that you have to take with your editor. You don't have to physically know how to edit and put your hand on the laptop or the desktop and edit. So other than that, you need to know what the edit pattern is going to be all about when you're making a film.
Totally. Sir, is there any kind of inspiration you draw from music, sir? Because almost like all your film music is like, it stands on a very higher level. I mean, of course, the collaborations, what you have done right from the first film with Harris sir, or be it AR sir, and of course, Ilaiyaraaja sir, like that speaks the whole volume, the magnitude of that film particularly. But do you draw an inspiration of music before you start every project? Like, I'm sure, I mean, I can see that totally you have great taste towards music because that is reflected on your films as well. So is there any process you do for that, sir?
So when I write the script and when the screenplay is being worked on, the songs have to be a part of that script. I don't
Okay.
try I don't try and sit with the music director and figure out if songs can be here and songs can be.
Yeah.
In the writing process, the songs sort of, fit in, or it takes the screenplay forward. There's one particular scene that I might want to treat lyrically and musically, and in the
Okay.
form of a song. So that is an idea that you have while you write itself. So that makes it easier. And then when you sit with a music composer like a Rahman sir or a Raja sir, you need to be very ready to tell them what you want in terms of the script, and this is the part where it's got to be told musically in the form of a song. Is it lip sync or not? Is it going to be like a background, sort of a song score sort of thing, So, and in what genre do you want the song to be? In what is the mood? So you need to inspire them. Only if you can inspire them to a big extent, what will come from them, will be like truly good and mind blowing. I believe in that. So you have to talk a lot. You have to spend a lot of time with them. And somewhere listening to music, having grown up listening to some really good music, old Hindi classics, Tamil songs, a lot of English songs, and keeping abreast with what is releasing today, right down to what is releasing
Yeah.
on iTunes or Spotify or on world music today. You need to know what's working. So then somewhere I'm also driven musically. There's music always playing. So I think all that helps. Yeah.
So is there any particular difference in terms of the working patterns, like with Harris sir and with Rahman sir and with Ilaiyaraaja sir, as in terms of the working with respect to music?
No, I think it's the same. It's the same thing. Maybe the ways of composing might be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's with the harmonium, and the tunes come and then he records it separately and all that. Rahman sir will listen to you and then he'll say, okay, let's meet again, and then he'll send you some tunes, or he'll call you back and he'll play something. With Harris, it's again on the piano or on the keyboard. You sit with him, and he starts composing you, and you kind of see a tune, you know, coming out from that, and you grab onto a pallavi and you grab
Yeah.
onto.
Yeah.
I've worked a lot with Karthik, also the singer, and it's a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
interactive process. We keep talking about world music, or we keep talking about old Rajasa songs, and then we grab from that and try and make something, completely different, but somewhere you'll find a connect or some thread, so it's always been like that. So it's a very interesting process of making music, actually making songs.
So do you see any challenges or differences, like while you direct a film or like an OTT, like it's completely like a series, like Do you see any difference? Of course,
No,
other
like,
than the length.
the work that you put in, the filming technique, whether it's an ad film or a short film or a music video or a feature film, I think it's the same. It's all hard. You put in a lot of effort. The biggest crews work on even the smallest of films that I've made, in terms of music videos and stuff like that. So, just in terms of the audience that you're catering to, and
Yeah.
maybe the story that you want to tell, differs in every project or in every work. Otherwise, it's the same thing. This particular story that I want to tell has to be told a certain way. It has to have a midpoint at a certain point, and a certain kind of a midpoint. It has to end here. It differs from story to story. Otherwise, the process, the effort,
Is
the writing, it's all the same.
but directing a biopic is completely different. Do you think, sir? Any challenges like what you did with Queen? So that was a completely a different ballgame altogether. But of course, in terms of the cinematic making and all, like that was GVM's touch was there. But in terms of the script, do you think there was any challenge? There were any challenges?
No, so the script takes care of those challenges. Like it's going to come out on an OTT sort of platform. So the writing took care of that. And then when you go into filming, you don't have to really rush through your the timing of your shots. You give the shots, or you give the emotion that the emotion deserves.
Can you hear me? I think there's some network issue. Gautam sir, can you hear me? Yes. Sorry, sir. I think there's some network issue.
We lost you.
Yeah. Can you see? Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Gautam sir, yep. Okay. Sorry, I think there was some network issue.
We're good now, right? I can hear you. I can see you. I
Okay.
don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I can see you, sir. I can see you. I can hear you as well. So you were saying something about, like you were saying about that biopic. Actually, I think I had to cut you over there on that the half only because of the
No,
network.
I was just saying that the filming process was a huge relief because we the emotions were filmed with what the emotion actually deserves. We didn't have to worry about 2.5 hours, a theater, a
Yeah.
crowd that might be
Yeah.
restless. So let's shoot this particular emotion faster than normal and all that stuff. Here we shot the way the emotion needed to be picturized or filmed, so that it can
Yeah.
reach the audience a certain way. So it was a huge relief in that sense. You know what I'm saying, right? There are
Yeah.
different
Yes,
ways
sir.
of filming a particular dialogue or emotion. If you're taking a feature film and 2 hours inside the theater, there's always these thoughts in your head that the audience will
Yes.
get restless. If it's a long drawn shot, then you might have to cut the shot and all that stuff. But here, you don't worry about all that because you know this is going into a audience that will generally watch it over their phones or at home on their TVs and stuff, and they're a little more relaxed in that sense. So you film the emotion with the way that it deserves to be filmed.
Right. So almost all your films, there is one kind of natural thought process seen in your films. I mean, in terms of the message or takeaway from audience point of view, like until the anthology, Putham Puthu Kadalai, whatever you did also, does this happen naturally or like deliberately you write it something like that, sir?
With reference to Puttam Pudukale, it was a script that was given to me, by
Okay.
the writer Reshma, and
Okay.
she said to sort of take this forward. So can you direct it? So then you have when you direct material that's coming at you or it's written by somebody else, you need to own it.
Yeah.
By owning it, I don't mean you own the intellectual property, but you own the material so that you can film it, the best way that
Yeah.
the material is filmed. So then you get into the characters, you figure out if you were that, what would you do? And then you try and picture a house and you try and picture the props there and then you get somebody like a PC Sriram sir on board and then it becomes much
Yeah.
more.
Of course.
So I enjoy collaborations these days. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to directing a lot of scripts that are set up by other writers. which I will own as I film it.
This question, I got maximum number of questions like when I announced saying like I'll be doing this session, because most of them asked me, it's like, how do you choose heroines or characters for your films, sir? Because like they stand out in like every film of yours, the heroine really stands out. So how do you choose them? So this is most commonly asked question from the audience.
Well, if they stand out, then I just have been lucky, I must say. I think so. There is a process, but then it's also the vibe that I feel with everybody, not just the or the actors.
Yeah, of course,
It's
yeah, yeah.
actors, all the technicians. Yes, the most important decision to take is the cinematographer of film. While you
Yeah.
finish a project, you have to fix on who will film this, who will be your cinematographer, right? I think that's a really huge decision because finally the visual imagery is coming with the help of the cinematographer. So that's I only look for the vibe. I don't look at yes craft and quality and all that stuff, but I look for the vibe because the director and the DOP or the cinematographer has to work in tandem. Understanding, trying to figure out, take the script forward and
Yeah.
all. And you connect with the vibe. So that vibe is what I look for, even with all the actors and stuff. And I think the women characters are, to a large extent, they are given a lot of importance, and we are talking about that only because
Correct.
it's not. Otherwise,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
ways. And I think the girls who've come on board to play these characters have all, put in a lot of work and tried to understand what this character is all about. From their clothes to their look, everything is made to look very real.
Absolutely.
It
Yeah.
reaches out in that sense.
So also, do you keep yourself like on the mark, always with the trend? Like you mentioned it also, like be it from films to the OTT or even on the social media, Wonder Entertainment, what you started, you always seem to be like you keep evolving yourself is very evident actually. So do you make an attempt or like it just happens in a natural way?
Yeah, I think it just happens in a very natural way. I think that's the answer. You have to keep abreast. You need to know what's happening around you. So I watch a lot of stuff. I read a lot of material. But other than that, I think it's just very natural process. I think, yeah. So the call to make something for an OTT platform came many years ago.
Okay.
And the first guys to take the plunge. And I know people called me and said they'll think you're going to TV. It's like directing a TV serial sort of a thing. So in films, or they'll think you're not doing well here, so you're going there. I said I don't look at it like that. I think this is a great alternative platform for a filmmaker to sort of exhibit his wares or put out his wares, and why not? I'm going to really embrace it. Is what I said. And I think I jumped at it, and I'm still in it. So.
So do you think people, I mean, from the past 2 years, because of the pandemic, whatever is happening, people have been more actively on OTTs or like be it like they're being glued on this. Do you think the theater, the whole aura of theater, whatever watching on bigger screens, do you think it will come back and will it remain the same? What do you feel, sir?
No, I think it will come back since we need to address
Yeah.
it like that. But it will come back because of the films that get to be screened. I think people will want to watch the big event films, the big films,
Yeah.
or they feel that a story that's being told in the theaters is really working, and they will come. And then, of course, the stars will also help. The big stars films also people will come for sure.
Yeah.
The fans will come in on the first couple of days, and when the word goes out that the film is also good, they will come to the theater. That's an experience I think that most film goers will not want to lose out on, the experience of watching something big or a film itself in the theater. Whereas the OTT platforms will put out different and interesting content. If there's a story that you feel will not work in the theaters because of the star factor and the audience factor, you can sort of try and get to meet the bosses at the OTTs and try and so there's also a quality check sort of that's done,
Correct.
and everything on OTT is great material, but at least there is a process. You put a script out, and there are a couple of people, or maybe 5 to 10 people, who will come and tell you, can it be this, can it be that? It's an interactive process, and there is a sort of a quality check that is done, for finally the material that comes out, if it's developed and interacted with in such a way, what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's all good, and I think it's nice to sort of coexist as two great alternatives for filmmakers. I'm saying.
Nice. So I have one question. Like, I mean, One of your friends have sent me this. In fact, I want to read this. This is sent by a lady called Sujata. She has messaged me saying like it's been a while since you have baked chocolate brownies or chocolate cake. So when are you going to next? The yellow Tupperware box in which you have gave the first cake 4 years ago is washed and kept for the fresh for the new cake.
Okay. Sure, Sujata, you didn't have to come through Insta and embarrass me and ask me that. But yeah, I bake a lot. I'm trying to bake very healthy stuff these days. Let's see if I. I'll send her a box of brownies for sure. Very soon.
In general, sir, what are your favorite pastimes, sir? Just like off the track, I'm asking because I'm very curious to know how's your daily routine. Like, what are your favorite pastime?
I watch a lot of films. I don't want to say
Okay.
films. I listen to a lot of music. I'm always looking to see what's come up new and anything and everything I listen to. I read. I give myself some time to read every day. I also give myself time to write, which is my work. I write also for like at least an hour every day. Sometimes it's just a blank screen. I'm just sitting in front of the screen, thoughts running, but which is also part of the process. I learned to bake. I picked up on some books while I was traveling, and I really learned to bake. So I don't look at recipes or
Wow.
and stuff like that to bake these days. I just put together my own combinations and I bake, and most of the time it's come out really well. But that is a great creative process itself. I also realized that my urge to eat sweet stuff all the time becomes lesser when I bake that. Not that it's not tasty
Yeah.
or anything, but just the I think there's a process in or there's some satisfaction in creating something to see how well it's come out, and then also looking at people's faces when they're eating that. So that's a high for sure. So I bake. I'm a biker,
Wow.
so I ride
Oh,
my bike.
wow.
The weather's nice. Even otherwise, I'm generally on my bike. So that's a high by itself. I've been in cars for like 5 6 years without being on a bike at all.
Wow.
Uh, I realized that while now I'm back to biking, the thoughts are much better these days. So
Much. Is that the reason, like, why we could see totally a bike scene in Acham and Madhumayadars? Like, the whole sequence was like
most films
so many
you will see,
bikers could relate to.
yeah, I think in most films you will have seen,
Of
the
course,
bike.
yeah, bike scenes. Yeah, yes, sir.
I like that. So yeah.
So, is there any ways wherein new people want to come and join you, like they want to work with you? Is there any protocol or any process you have fixed? Like, I'm sure so many people will be aspiring, like they want to work with you. Is there any? What are the any process?
No, a lot of people come in. We do take like almost every year. We take like two people on the team. Um, we really can't take everybody who wants to come in
Of
because
course,
one or
yeah,
two films a year, and I there's generally too much of a crowd also doesn't work, and everybody needs to be involved. If about
yeah,
6 people, right, and then the team has to move out. People have to move out, make their own films for more new people to come in. Sometimes they get to be around for 3 to 4 years. Maybe they like the experience, they get to be there for 3 to 4 years before they move out. So there's no, I mean, it's easy to reach us. There are people who reach us. I have a team that connects with most of, bring them to me sort of once they look at everybody and all that. And then they bring them to me at the final round. Then I talk to them and I'll bring them in. Whatever it is, they're going to be in my space, talking to me and spending time with me and working on scripts or content that I put out. So I'd like to meet them and interact with them to figure out if it'll work for me and for them. There are a lot of people
yeah.
who want to act and they try and take the direction route and then end up as actors. We make sure that to a large extent that doesn't happen. I'm at the stage of my life I can't even talk about.
No, my next question was that one only. Like in the recent times, you have been more seen in as an actor, like in one of the very very classic films or like classic roles you have been doing, be it from Trance to Kandam Kandam Kollade Tal. It's like, is there any particular thought which came into you saying like, want to take this like seriously and do it? Of course, you have done cameo appearances in most of your films earlier, but this seems
Yeah,
to be
those
like
were my
pretty.
own films. I was never really interested in acting or being in front of the camera, but off late I think I must I don't know. I must. It's only because of the directors who approached me, like Anwar Rashid, when he, asked me, I couldn't say no because I liked his work and I wanted to figure out also how they work and want to be part of the unit. 10 to 15 days of work. So I thought it'll also help me figure out how another big director's unit is functioning and how they're working and all that. And it's also an experience of working with Fahad and, a
Yeah.
lot of big actors in that film, so it was a great ensemble cast. And then Kandum Kandum was also purely because of the director and the way he talked to me and the way he set up the whole story for me and all that. And I thought okay, and I think he was at me for more than 3 months to try and see if it'll work out and all that. So I'm not saying I liked it and I want everybody to do that, but that I liked, in the sense that discussions with him, and I understood what the kind of film that he was trying to make. And I think I was right about the film that ended up being. It did really well, and everybody liked the film and all that stuff. I think off late, it's only because of the directors who asked me that I decide whether I want to be in that film or not. Yeah.
So recently, any film, like as you said, you have been watching films, any film which really blew out of your mind? I mean, or any series, any such like
Oh
really,
yeah,
really blew up?
lots of great material, very good films, that I watched recently, which I really liked. Series, I liked Afterlife on Netflix. I'm looking forward to seeing the next season. That's two seasons that have come out, and I really liked that. I liked Fleabag on Amazon. I liked um, Krominsky Method on Netflix again.
Of course, that's very
Yeah,
nice.
I watched Scam. I like Scam a lot. I watched a few episodes of Maharani,
We
and
have.
there's a new one, which Zoya has acted in, the one, the heroine of Mukabbas. So
Correct.
I don't know the name of the
Yes,
series
yes.
right now, but I watched one episode of that and I really liked it. So I watch a lot of films. Yeah.
Very nice, sir. So on that note, so how's the experience coming to this session? So first of all, thank you. Really, I mean, I don't know, like, I was too nervous throughout the session. I tried my best talking to you. I mean, even now I'm feeling nervous. Like, it's a fanboy moment to me, sir. Thank you.
No, like I said, I acted in trance because Anwar Rashid and the way he spoke to me and all that stuff. So I'm on this Insta Live thing only because of your text messages and the way you, insisted that I must be on this and all that. So I said yes. So I must thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Pleasure having you throughout this. And I'll meet you soon when I'm in Chennai, sir. Thank you so much. And one word to your the fans or the viewers. I think we haven't spoken to them because Insta Live means obviously they take few questions. I think in one shot, one line, you can just talk to them or you can just speak to them, sir.
No, I mean, thank you. I must say thank you for sure. And it's because of the audience out there that we like to create these images. We like to narrate these stories. At least I know a few filmmakers who don't really think about themselves as such. They want like I said, they want to be amidst storytelling. They want to be amidst other filmmakers who put out material. We appreciate other films that we watch. There's a group of directors who connect and watch other people's films and appreciate that and reach out to the filmmakers and all that. So I belong to that fraternity and that group of people, and I'm happy for audiences like this that watch a lot of great content on OTT and in the theaters, and we thrive and survive because of you guys. And I'm not really trying to sound dramatic, but I mean that. So thank you, so much. And you keep up the good work going, and we'll try and make sure that we put out good work so that you can keep up the work going.
Thank you, sir. Keep inspiring with your work, sir. Many more to come. So one last question.
I
Like,
can
what are
see
the
a lot of
future, like
questions
upcoming?
as we're talking,
Yeah,
not
actually,
multitasking, but I can see a lot of questions on Dhruva Nakshatram. So I can just
yeah.
probably tell you guys that I even get cursed for not talking about Dhruva Nakshatram. There is a reason why we don't talk about it. I've said this before also. I mean, it is my film. If I hadn't announced Dhruva Nakshatram, nobody would have known that there's a film like Dhruva Nakshatram. So, and unfortunately, there were some issues that sort of, put the film on hold, but it's all done now. And we are in post production.
Wow.
Is Most of the actors have dubbed for the film. We have about 8 to 10 days of work, which we will be, finishing very soon, while other work is also going on. And we're looking at a big release this year, and hopefully we will release this.
Wow. Apart from Dhruva Nakshatram, any other like upcoming projects, of course, apart from Navarasa, is there anything OTT
Yeah, there
series
is a.
which you haven't?
I'm getting a new film with Simbu, with Rahman sir doing, doing the music, and
Wow.
um, it'll be a very different film from me and Simbu, and it's not the regular different that everybody says. Not that I mind saying it, but this is truly a very different genre for me and Simbu that we're trying to put together. Yeah.
It's a hat-trick combo, I can say, all three of you coming together for the third time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, GVM, sir. It's really a pleasure talking to you. I mean, means a lot. So, thank you once again for accepting this.
Thank
See you
you.
soon, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Take care, sir. Take care. Bye.